Hi guys, welcome back to Bryan's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. Hope everyone is having a good summer. And today we're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to talk about a missing hiker. This is about the disappearance of Kris Fowler, who disappeared on his hike of the Pacific Crest Trail back in 2016. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Pacific Crest Trail is a national scenic trail that runs all the way from the border of Mexico at Campo all the way up to Canada through 3 states, California, Oregon, and Washington. And people come from all over the world to hike this trail. It's over 2,600 miles long, and it is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful trail. It does require a permit, and it just takes you through a vast array of landscapes. In any event, Kris was part of the 2016 class. He was hiking northbound on the PCT, and he had already covered a good distance. He had already covered over 2,000 miles and was in the state of Washington, and he had just stopped to do a resupply in around the White Pass area, Packwood, and his last confirmed location was at the Cracker Barrel, and he had been given a ride back to the White Pass, mile 2294. You can see on the map here there's some other side trails, but it's thought that this is where he was dropped off to get back on trail. Kris was 35 years old at the time of his disappearance, 6'2", about 165 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. He did like to hike in sandals, so that's what he was last seen in, and this is a trailhead right there by the White Pass location. And Kris was known to be a very, very experienced hiker. Sorry, he was 34 at the time of his disappearance, and his cell phone last pinged on October 12th, so that is the confirmed date. Now, he was carrying a spot device. For those that you don't know, that it's just a GPS device, an emergency beacon locator, and curiously that was not activated. So this kind of is a big part of the mystery, because he was an experienced hiker, and if he had gotten into trouble, it's a wonder why that wasn't activated. And we'll get into some more of the details. When he was last seen, he did have a full beard, and the weather had been starting to get worse. This was like the first week of October, so up in Washington, the weather really starts getting cold, icy, rainy, snowy, and he was by himself at this time. There is an unconfirmed sighting that apparently 2 bow hunters talked to him on October 22nd, but that was 10 days later, and his cell phone hadn't pinged anywhere in between. This was apparently near Blowout Mountain, but I find this probably not to be true, especially when we talk about some more of the details, because the day that he disappeared, there was a big storm that had moved in. This Typhoon Signagda, I believe was the name, and the media was saying it was the storm of like 2 decades, and it brought in a lot of freezing rain and snow and very, very cold weather. And in some of these last pictures, you can see he was all bundled up in rain gear, and oftentimes that gear, especially in Washington, in a very short time will wet out, and that's when you start having problems, leaving yourself open to hypothermia and other things. So again, it's all speculation to know what happened after this point. Kris's name was Sherpa, so that's really what he was known on the trail by. And this is one of my favorite pictures of him, just because it looks like it's a cold, wet, rainy day. He's obviously all bundled up, but still just looks so happy. He was doing what he loved, and that's great, because at least wherever he is, he went doing something when he was happy. But yeah, there was a big typhoon that came in and caused all kinds of snow and dumped snow all over that entire area. And this is kind of the popular theory, what they thought had happened. But again, my question is, why wasn't the spot device activated? Perhaps he fell. Maybe there's a lot of steep edges there, cliffs. He could have fallen, taken a bad tumble, and wasn't able to activate it. But again, that's just speculation. So a little backstory: Kris left Campo, California, which is again near the Mexican border, on May 7th to start his hike. He walked for months and loosely followed the trail, and would also stop to sightsee and of course resupply in the towns, and that's part of the fun of it. He kept in touch with his family and friends and put updates on his Facebook page, and eventually Fowler ended up hitching a ride to White Pass and went into a small store to have coffee. His family found out later that he was undecided about whether he should try hiking because of the bad weather coming. His last known cell signal was at 5:43 p.m. on October 12th. There's been possible sightings after that, but none of these have been confirmed. So on October 12th of 2016, he hitched back to the Cracker Barrel at White Pass and told the store clerk his cell phone charger was not working, but he was heading to Snoqualmie. Sorry, I never say that right. He tried to call his dad, but he couldn't make contact, and then he texted two friends, and as far as we all know, he got on trail. The next few days were the very bad storms, rain and cold, and it's speculation, but they think he might have stayed in a cabin for a couple of days, but again, after that, there was just no contact whatsoever. The search and rescue teams under the Yakima Sheriff's Department did an initial search along the PCT from White Pass in addition to flyovers and road searches. After the initial search, they have focused primarily on the surrounding Blowout Mountain, the location of the unconfirmed sighting by the two bear hunters on October 22nd of that year, 2016. Blowout Mountain is east of the PCT mile marker 2,354. It's about 62 miles north of the confirmed White Pass location where he was dropped off. Personally, I think that unconfirmed sighting has actually caused hampering to the investigation, because given the severity of the storm, had Kris made it that far to Highway 410 at Chinook Pass, it is likely that he probably would have pulled out and tried to get refuge, in the town. It was very wet and cold, and a lot of the hikers that had gotten caught in that same storm bailed off right at that spot where the bear hunters claimed to have seen him. So I just find it a little bit hard to believe that an experienced hiker like him wouldn't have done this. So I think that is an unconfirmed sighting, personally. Kris was last seen with a backpack that was wide with orange panels and a black back, a green sleeping pad wrapped in a bright blue tarp, a dark blue Eddie Bauer jacket, brown cargo pants and sandals, a digital watch, a couple of multicolored bandanas, which he loved, a pair of tennis shoes, a cell phone, a solo stove light, fingerless gloves, and a possibly neoprene gloves and neoprene toe socks. So these are the items that you'd want to look out for if you happen to be in these parts of Washington. He did love bandanas, and he was always sporting a different colored one. This is a picture of him without the full beard. Kris was also carrying with him a big Agnes Fairview one-person tent that was tannish color. And his family has been very, very dedicated in this search. Unfortunately, his father, who was an Air Force veteran, died the following June, not knowing what happened to Kris. But the rest of his family, they go up every year since then, and that's the whole idea of these videos, is just to keep their stories alive, to let people that don't know about these stories, see the faces, the pictures, the search areas, knowing what to look for, to help bring closure to these families. Now, again, the searchers, there was many individual teams that have gone out. The main search, the family goes up there. There's people on the web. Their Facebook page now has over 7,300 people. These maps just give an idea of where the searches have taken place, and then where some people have suggested that they take place. I'm in agreement. I think that we shouldn't take the the bear hunter account, because it is unverified and it can tend to skew the search area. Authorities in Yakima and Kittas counties now regularly stay in touch with Sally, Kris's mom. Search efforts resumed within the past years. Every year people go out looking for the tarp, any of the gear. Current hikers are always on the lookout. So anything you find, you want to take pictures of immediately. Don't touch it. Just document the location, and then contact the local sheriff's office, which I'm going to leave the information here for anyone to contact. There is now a $10,000 reward being offered for any information leading to Kris's whereabouts. If you can help investigators, please contact the Yakima County Sheriff, Sergeant Randy Besco, at 509-574-2535, or the Quitates County Sheriff's Office at 509-962-7525. It's hard to say for sure what happened to Kris. I mean, he was a very experienced hiker, very dedicated to all things that he did. His family had no doubts that he would finish this trail. And we are coming up on the 4-year anniversary, and I'm just hoping that by keeping these stories and faces in the media, in social media platforms, by informing upcoming seasons of hikers, we can help find clues and help bring closure to some of these families, because ultimately I can't imagine what it's like to go through something like this. So everybody, just please be respectful in the comments if you do feel to leave one, and if you have any information, please contact one of the appropriate law enforcement agencies. That information will also be in the description. You can also call anonymously. My thoughts and prayers go out to Kris, and of course Kris's family and his friends. Just wishing and hoping you find closure soon. Thank you very much for watching, and please everybody, if you could hit the like button, it really does help to make these videos go further and for more people to see them. Thanks again, and wishing everybody to stay healthy and safe. Take care.